Hello again. So today I'm going to have a look at these things. I'm going to have a look at adding a valve onto an existing water pipe so I can switch off the water and switch it back on again. Now I've got one of these that is a lever for two reasons. First of all, it's easier to use. You can just turn it, you don't have to get a screwdriver out. The other sort you might have seen are very similar to this, except there's a screwdriver hole and you get a screwdriver, turn it on and off. They're nice and small and compact, but what they are is they restrict the flow. So if you look into this one, this is full bore, so you get full 15 mil all the way through, so it doesn't restrict the flow of water. The little ones with a screw, the screwdriver fitting, actually reduce the flow, so the ball inside is much smaller, so you get a reduced flow. So if you've got things like, in this case, a hose pipe, I don't really want to reduce the flow if I don't have to, so I'm going to use one of these as well. So let's go about fitting it. So this is the place in this tight little cupboard where I'm going to install the thing. So this is a pipe that's going to the outside tap, so I want to be able to turn that off during the winter. Here's the thing, it's going to go on somewhere like that. I might put it on that way around to make it less intrusive. So that's got to go there. So the first thing we do, first thing you notice is this is fairly long. So if I just cut the pipe, obviously it won't fit. So I need to cut the pipe in two places, which is matching that. Tools for the job. I'm going to need a pair of these grabbers. I'm going to need an adjustable spanner, a pipe cutter. These little round ones are really good, and then some of this LSX, which is used for sealing the joints. So first job is to turn off the water. Okay, so with the water turned off now, I'm good to cut this pipe, but of course it's going to be still full of water. Now if you've got a lower point on the system, it's really good to take the water out first, otherwise when you cut it you can get all the water from above coming down. Now it's not too much of a problem, you can do that, just catch it in an ice cream tub or something. It's easier if you can let it out, and I happen to have down here, if I lower you down a little bit, you can see that I've got a washing machine tap on the end of here as well. So what I can do is I can undo that and use that to let the water out. So the next step then, decide where I want the actual thing. So if I'm going to put it around about here, it means I need to take my cutter and I can put it on the pipe. Now obviously the pipe will sit inside this thing up to about here, so we line that up and line the cutter up with that line where we're going to be just inside, and the cutter just clips onto the pipe like that. Once it's on, we just turn it the other way around and it will cut through the pipe quite nicely. That's what these cutters are really nice for, because you don't need to have a lot of space behind the pipe, and you don't need to use a hacksaw or anything like that. It just does it for you. Now there will be some water come out when I finally cut through, because I've not managed to completely empty the pipe. That water you can hear running is just water from down here running into a little bowl that I've got. Okay, so that's, as I cut through this, it let the air into the pipe and let the water come back down again. So that's good. You see the water stopped now, so I've caught it all in a thing. So that pipe is now cut. So the next thing to do, line this up, so I want it there and I want it about there as well. So I'll clip this back on a bit lower. Now I'll just double check again that I've got the right length, and that's looking okay. Obviously there is some flex in the system as well, and again I'll just cut that now. So again I'll turn this round and round until such time as it cuts through. So here we go. And there's the piece that's come off. So now we see we've got a gap that this thing will fit into. So this is based on compression joints. So if I undo the nut, inside you will find an olive, and then the sort of the bit that fits on the pipe. So what you do, take the nut, slide it over the pipe, take the olive, slide it over the pipe. Now this is where this stuff comes in. This is this LSX. So take the LSX, get a little bit just onto the finger there, smear it around the top of the tube. You can see the olive sticks nicely to it. I can put a little bit more around the olive. Now this stuff kind of dries like a sealant, but to be honest, I'm more using it as a lubricant than a sealant, so that when you do up the nut, this thing isn't going to be too badly sort of grinding. So there's that. That just slots straight on. Bring up the nut, and we can just tighten that nut up now. A little bit, just finger tight for now. Next thing is to do the top one. So again, undo that, take the olive out, put the nut on, like that, put the olive on, and then using our third hand, add a bit of this, and that will stick the olive in place. A bit more onto the olive on the outside, and then we can simply drop that into its place and tighten it up. So that's the actual thing now in place. So the first thing I'm going to do is to tighten up the nut at the bottom. Okay, so to tighten up the nut, I'm using my grippers to hold onto the actual valve, and then I can tighten up the nut. Because remember, I'm tightening the nut onto the valve. If the valve moves, then the whole thing will just turn around and the nut won't tighten. So just gently tightening the nut now, and as I tighten it, it's not grinding and graunching because I've put that lubricating stuff on. And I just tighten it fairly gently. Okay, that's still moving, so I can put some more on. If I put too much pressure on it, then what will happen is that it won't work properly. It will essentially damage the olive. So I'm just very carefully tightening that up now. A little bit more. And once I've done the first side, I can then put the grippers on the bottom like that, and I can tighten up the top one. Finger tight first, and then just tighten up with the spanner. Till such time as it's tight. You can see it doesn't want to move anymore, so that's nice and tight. Now, need to tighten these up just enough so that they don't move, but not so tight that you damage it. So now that's tightened up, all I need to do is turn on the water using this little valve down here again. So it's on, and then I can just have a little feel around the bottom to make sure that it's not leaking. So that's in the off position, and when I turn the water on, it's like that. So that is job done. So I hope you found that useful. Unfortunately, it was a little bit dark and dingy in that cover, but hopefully you could see what was going on. It's a relatively simple job. 10 minutes, as you can see. So if you like this video, please feel free to subscribe. Otherwise, I might see you next time.